Hi and welcome to another Wolf Makes Knitting tutorial. The stitch we're going to be looking at today is the yarn over. Now don't worry, we're not going to be doing this. This is just an example of where a yarn over can be used. So in a lace stitch like this, these holes that you can see making the lace effect, these are created using a combination of yarn overs to make a stitch and decrease stitches, knitting twos together, passing stitches over, etc., etc., to keep the same number of stitches on your needles so you get the same width of material. So you can either use yarn overs in a lace stitch or you can use yarn overs to shape. Now, the shape of this shawl you knit like this. So this one row goes like this, and it's a triangular, and it gets wider and wider and wider with each row. And the way it gets wider, I can lift this up, is here. Can't see that at all. The way it gets wider is here in these yarn over stitches. So what we're going to look at is the different ways that you can create a yarn over stitch. So I've got a little sample piece that I've started here, and we're going to look at creating some yarn overs to make this wider. So at the moment we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 stitches. So stitch number 11, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This stitch here is my center point. Okay, so if we're going to do an increase, what I might do is knit 10, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now this is my center point, so I'm going to enlarge around that center point. Doesn't have to be, I can do it at the end. I can do it in a random place, but I like symmetry. So now my yarn over. Basically what I'm doing is I'm creating a loop. So my yarn is in the back because I've just knitted. I'm going to bring it from the front to the back again. Let me show you that again. I'm going around the needle. So now I'm going to knit my center point. If we look here, this looks just like another stitch. If we look carefully, we can see that it kind of starts to the right here and then ends up more to the left here. So it's not as straight on the needle as the two stitches either side of it. This one kind of starts here and ends more on that side. So I'm going to do it again, the other side. I'm going to go underneath and round, and then I'm going to knit to the end of the row. Okay, now my wrong side, we're just going to purl. So we're going to purl 10, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I'm going to see. So this is a normal stitch, and then we've got this stitch here. So this is our yarn over, and it's much floppier, much. And it's just a loop, isn't it? But we're still going to knit it in exactly the same way. We're going to go into the front and purl it, purl our centre, and do the same thing. We've got another one in the front, and then we're just going to purl to the end. Okay, so let's see what we've created. So you can see we've got 2 holes, but instead of 21 stitches, we've created 2 stitches, so we should have 23. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Okay, I'm going to take this away, carry on for a couple of rounds, and then come back. So what we've got here is using yarn overs on a central stitch to increase. We went from 21 to 27 stitches, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 holes to correspond with those stitches. So the way we can use a yarn over without increasing the stitches, but still creating these lace hole patterns, is to combine it with a decrease stitch. Now, the easiest of these is knit 2 together. So the stitch I'm going to show you along here is going to be knit 1, yarn over, knit 2 together. And we're just going to carry that across the row. So we'll knit 1, yarn over to make a stitch, knit 2 together to decrease. Knit 1, yarn over, knit 2 together. Now, if you notice, I'm pinching the stitches and giving them a little pull to just help me get 2 stitches at once. Oops, doesn't always work. Now we're just going to stitch those last. There's the last 2. There we go. So we've still got 27 stitches on the needles, but we've got lots of holes. Now we won't see those until we go across and purl. So we've got lots of little eyelets. So I'm just going to knit and purl another row so we can see them better. Okay, so here we are with our little eyelets. So we've kept 27 stitches. And we've just got our extra little holes. Now, the yarn over that we've been looking at so far has been the yarn over where we've been knitting, making a yarn over and then knitting. If we were knitting, making a yarn over and then purling, that would be a different stitch. Let me show that again. So if we have a knit stitch, a yarn over, and then to purl, we have to bring the yarn in front. That's a big wrap. Again, if we're purling, and we want to do a yarn over to purl, let me show you again, a yarn over to purl, slightly different wrap. Again, if we're going to do a purl, a yarn over to knit, literally just flip it over the top. Yeah. So we're going to purl, yarn over to knit. So we've got subtle differences to those yarn overs with where your yarn is starting and finishing. But all of the time we need to make that loop. Okay, so if we're at the back, we have to come to the front and over. If we're already at the front, we can just come over. And then you need to think about where your next stitch is starting. If your next stitch has to start with the yarn at the back, then you're fine. If your next stitch is a purl, you can't come back this way because you'll undo what you're doing. So you have to come in front of the needle. Okay, so check what your stitches are either side of your yarn over, and just make sure that you're getting a full front to back yarn over and tucking your working yarn either to the front or to the back, depending on which stitch you need it to be next. Thanks ever so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this Wolf Makes knitting tutorial. If you have a look at the screen, you should be seeing a subscribe button and a link to some videos that I hope you'll enjoy as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.